tell you why. Think about the trolls that come into this room. What is the idea that is in their head? Yes, some may get paid for it, but think about just the idea that what you will do this to get paid for it. Seriously? Seriously. The idea is so very powerful because, good morning, Kelly Zutz. Where are you coming in from? The idea is so very important because that oftentimes determines our identity. Even when it comes to failure, failure first starts as an idea. And even if you have, hey, glad you could join us in Milwaukee. We're talking a little bit about a movie called Inception, but we're really dealing deeper into ideas and thoughts. So really before, even if a person tries something and fails, watch this. It's still an idea. See, because the idea of quitting after failure, that has to be in thought. And it's not, yes, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, yes, ma'am. It has to become a thought. Watch this. It has to be a thought because it's not instinctive. It's not instinctive when there's ability. Watch. As a child, when you're very first learning to walk, wanting to walk is instinctive. You're watching other people do it, and so you want to do it. It is a sign of independence. And so when a child falls, they'll do all they can to get back up. Why? Because the idea of failure has never even set in. The idea of just staying on the floor and doing and never trying this again, that idea never set in. And so they never do. And children continue to just get up. They keep getting up. No matter how many times they fall, they get up, 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 they get up. Why? Because the idea of staying on the ground never took hold. They didn't have it. They don't even have access to the idea. Remember now, oftentimes our what we know as failure comes from an idea from what we've experienced, what we've seen, what we've watched. But failure is not an instinct. It's not an instinct. We don't have that. Failure comes in the form of an idea, not an instinct. When we look at the child, he doesn't have the idea of failure. He only has his instincts to keep getting up, get back up, keep trying, keep trying. It's not even a thought. It never occurs to that child. I watched a special, a thing about a guy rescuing a puppy. And so this puppy had a lung condition which sapped its energy and made it hard for it to walk because of the way its weight pressed down on its lungs. But instinctively, the puppy, even though his back legs weren't working, his front legs was trying to work. He would try to get his back legs to work, but because of the weight pressed on his sternum and his lungs, his back legs wouldn't work, even though in his mind now, he's trying to get these back legs to move, even though his front are the only ones that are moving. They end up getting the dog some therapies to be able to relieve the pressure on his lungs. And guess what? His legs were starting to work. And his legs actually got strong enough for him to walk and even to swim. Why? It was instinct, not an idea. Failure is an idea. And if it's an idea that we begin to live out will become an identity. Success is an idea, but we make it manifest into our identity. That's why it's so important when we're talking about this movie and about Inception. I want to be able for us to take and examine the idea of who we are and what we can be. Evaluate where the idea came from. Sometimes people have filled our heads with ideas that aren't even true. People have filled our heads with ideas from things they've never even experienced. So their idea is not even based in anything. But we have taken their idea and have turned it into our identity based on something they didn't even know anything about. We do it all the time. I hear people all the time talk about never wanting to be bothered with rental real estate and this and that. And they got that from somebody who's never owned rental real estate or who did not know how to manage it properly. So therefore, they now have taken an idea to say, nope, I got this idea from them. Yeah, that's right. That's not a good idea. And now that becomes a part of their identity. All of these little things make up our little profiles, right? These things that we won't do or that we can't do because of we took an idea and we put it into our identity profile. I'm going somewhere. I didn't even know that I was getting into an identity profile because that wasn't even, but I'm just starting to see it as like a catalog. What's in your catalog of ideas that make up your identity? If you can look at it as a bookshelf, what's on that bookshelf? Because they're ideas. Those are the things that are in your library. They're up here in the library. And if they're saying this is not possible, you got that idea in your library that makes up your identity. And all I'm asking you to do this week is question what's in the library of your ideas. Where did they come from? Who gave them to you? Let's examine them, whether they're even true. You're not smart. You're not pretty. You can't be successful. You're not this. You're not that. No, I said I was going to talk you off. So at D_BB. Please understand that you are proving our point this morning about what a tore up mind can do. So when you come here, you have made the case for what a broken mind can do. And if there are any other trolls that are in the room, you display your ignorance and what's in the library of your mind by the foolishness you put on the screen. What you put on the screen doesn't say anything about anybody in this room. But what it says is everything about who you really are. And man, if this is the best you got, it's tragic. Madam or sir, whoever you are, it is just tragic that this is the best you got with the time that you have. Man, one of these days you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to see that all this trolling ain't add up to nothing. What's in your library? You might want to pull up a chair and may want to think about changing what you're doing. Because this right here, it's unproductive. I'm just saying, what's in your library? And you can't say that it's not ignorance that's on your shelf. The question is how many volumes does it take up? And you can tell how many volumes it take up by how you behave. Woo. Woo. Yeah. What's in your library? What's in your idea catalog? This is obvious. So I'll block the next thing you put on the screen. Because I do realize that for some people, now I believe that anything's possible for everybody, but not for the person who is not open to learn. I want to say that's the height of ignorance. Yeah. Yeah. Because listening takes a lot more. You see. But that's what is in your idea catalog. Last week we talked about conversation, what we say out of our mouth and what other people say. Are you reinforcing what's in your idea catalog by what you say. Because sometimes ideas need reinforcing. A weak idea oftentimes need reinforcing. Are you reinforcing your own weak idea? Are you reinforcing your own weak idea by what you say out of your mouth? I can't. It's not possible. I don't know. I'm not sure. All this week. So listen, you can invite your friends. I'll be back on 7:30 p.m. Listen, if you get the opportunity, take a look. What I really want to get down into, man, is who we are. What makes us who we are? This is not a psychology course, but this is simply looking at a movie saying, somebody did tell me what I couldn't do, what I wasn't good at. Every one of us have had it now. Everyone has had someone tell us what we are not. Every single one of us. But you got to question, where does that come from? All right, I'll give you a real life example. So one day, I was at a church and I preached a sermon. And I left the church. Went to the church, left the church, and so there was these other preachers sitting in the audience. And they're older guys who were sitting in the audience. And I went to the 7-Eleven, get something, a cup of coffee, and came back. And these guys, they waited for me. And they wanted to talk with me. I said, okay, not a problem. These older guys. So, you give people their proper respect. So you respect your elders, you give them proper respect. So here's the deal. So when we get in this office, the guy proceeds to tell me that I'm not that good, and that I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I shouldn't be, thinking you're ahead of the pastor, and you're this and that and the other, and all these other things. And so the pastor is in the room too. He's sitting there, and he's just like dumbfounded. And so I'm sitting there. Now these people know they didn't attend the church. They were preachers. They were visiting. It was their little group, but that was probably what they were there for. But they were there to hear me speak, really. That's what they were there. And so when they're done talking, and I go, well, all right. That it? That's all y'all got? Well, good day. So, and what I want you to know now, what was their motivation? You see, what I've learned is to evaluate when people tell you things. So the whole thing, it wasn't about whether I was good or not. The whole thing was to try to break you down. Was trying to break. Hey, good morning, Knuckles. The whole conversation was to try to break me. You see, to cause doubt. But here's the thing. I know what I am and who I am. The whole reason why you even say that somebody's not good is because you feel threatened by their ability. Because if you thought I wasn't that good, then how come you didn't offer to help? See, and that's what I'm saying. And so I could have ran with their idea. I could have ran with their idea. Exactly. And I don't have ground. I don't have ground that where stuff of that sort can grow. I don't have a ground that. So, what do you want me to do with that? Throw that in the trash. What do you want me to do? And so, in life, you'll have people. Now, what was theirs based on, though? It was based on their own shortcomings. It wasn't based on my skill. It wasn't based on my ability. It wasn't based in a place where they were really trying to help me develop. That's not where it was coming from, you see. So what if I took their idea and ran with their idea of what they said I was, even though their idea was based on false pretenses, based on their own shortcomings? You see. So, and let's say if it was based on they're old and I'm young. And sometimes that causes an issue for people. Why would I take their idea and begin to live out my life based on an idea that came from their shortcomings? That would be Inception. That they've planted an idea, and now I live out their idea.